Yeah, and I would say legal ops is a relatively kind of new industry. And so you won't find a lot of people who have been doing it for 25 plus years because what we called that back then was paralegal, contracts administrator, project manager. And so I think that is one thing where don't let the title of their prior jobs dissuade you from thinking that they can be in a legal ops role because it's a relatively kind of new function that's being built out. The thing you have to look at is what does the business actually need? Do you need a general athlete and you're not sure what you need? Do you need like distinctly a contracts administrator because you've got just high volume paper cuts hitting you every day? Do you need a really savvy project manager who can go in and run large scale initiatives, change management, technology, new processes? Or do you need a little bit of both? I got extremely lucky. Shout out to Brenda, who is phenomenal as a
Is
legal ops
awesome.
professional. She's so great. And she has a real deep background as a corporate paralegal. I can throw equity stuff her way. I can throw corporate subsidiary stuff her way. But she also is really talented in legal ops, managing the transition from one system to another, implementing technology, gathering together feedback and input from diverse stakeholder groups, and distilling that into a project plan. And they're out there. And they may not be called legal ops, may be called project manager, corporate paralegal. I think what it comes down to for me is someone who's a really great communicator and who can manage the expectations of everybody else outside of legal. That is really key.
Mike, anything you want to add there about going the legal ops route first, or when you did go the legal ops route, like what was going through your mind at that time and thinking like this is the hire we need to make right now?
My legal ops manager was amazing and has saved my legal team more than once. Was the fourth hire. So brought in a few attorneys. We needed folks boots on the ground to do the advice and counsel work. And then once we realized that there was three of us potentially looking to hire some more attorneys, we realized that we needed a little bit more organization. And that's what I mean by saved us. So she was thinking of a way to create processes to keep us organized without slowing down. When we talked about before, whether we're proactive or reactive towards a hire, at this point, I was being proactive. I was thinking down the pipeline and thinking, okay, I have kind of people working in silos. I need someone to bring this team together in a way that's going to streamline revenue operations, streamline our communication with customers. We have evidence management that our customers are asking us for. We have law enforcement asking us for different things. So the inbound requests were getting voluminous. So it was important for us to bring someone in that can create those workflows. So, and the way that we were able to talk about those budget constraints at this time, what I was focused on doing was playing to the culture for the rest of my C-suite. And what I know that my team cared about was optimizing for speed. So if you're optimizing for speed, and I know that not having a legal ops manager is going to slow us down, then we can help you find the money to help keep us optimized for speed. And that was the play. And once we brought that, we realized that in a way, she's not just solely indebted to the legal team. She's just as much in the revenue team meetings. She is talking to our customers. She is outside talking to just all different departments and then bringing that back in and creating these little projects for herself and running without a lot of direction.
Right. Mike, we'll keep this on you, but when it comes to recruitment, I know that when at least internally in Lawtrades, anytime we post a job right now, there are hundreds and hundreds of applicants to go through. And building a pipeline is incredibly challenging because there's a lot of folks out there looking for more work. And I know that you're a master networker, so I'm very curious to hear about how you think about building your pipeline of talent. What are you relying on in terms of finding the next attorney or contract manager or paralegal to join your team? Walk me through maybe your pipeline process.
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have a pretty robust recruitment team within the company because there are some really specialized roles. When you think about, again, I mentioned we're hardware, so we have some really specialized engineering needs. Right? We make cameras. There's certain specialists, people that are just really good at camera lenses. So because of that, we knew early on that we needed recruiters on both sides, the engineering side of the house and then the support staff side of the house. So when we're looking at pipeline, what we're doing is much like how I talked about during that legal offsite, creating the keywords of the individual that we were looking for and creating the keywords for the candidate that we're looking for, partnering with my recruitment manager and saying, I know this person exists. here are the keywords to go find this person in all of our networks and the LinkedIn tools. And when we're getting those inbound hundreds of applications for one job posting, these are the words that I want you to be thinking about as we are manually reviewing every single resume that comes through our door, and making sure that we're not missing anyone through any automated processes. So because of that kind of digging for the talent, we're making sure that we're also not digging without a goal or digging without knowing exactly what we're looking for. And then sometimes there are surprises. There's, wow, I wouldn't expect this person to fit with this background to fit all of the needs of our team. They sound interesting. Schedule a call. So a lot of it has been a little bit of headhunting on our end of folks that we have found, but also giving the recruitment team the playbook to make sure they're pulling out those gold nuggets from the pile.
Megan, anything you want to add there about building your pipeline?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I take a little bit of a different attack than Mike, which is I am like just very involved in all of the recruitment, interviewing, and not to say that you're not, Mike, but I don't have the luxury to be able to rely on a recruiting team who's able to do the level of digging that it sounds like your team can. And maybe the first is ABB, always be building. Even when you're not building your team, you're actually building your brand, which is going to build your team in the future. And the role might not be open now, but 6 months, 12 months from now, when that role is open, you want to understand who in your network can recommend people, who has a profile that is similar to what you're looking for. How do you think about skill sets and progressive experiences? And I've found that I have not been able to rely on my recruiting team for that a lot. So I've had to really dig down deep and roll up my sleeves. I'd say that I have oscillated on this topic, and I'd be curious even among the group because what people find for legal jobs. I've started from a place of not wanting to do practical interviews and exercises in an interview process, and I've actually turned myself towards the very other end of the spectrum, which is now I really like doing practical exercises for everybody I hire for, because I think it's a great way to figure out how somebody problem solves in real life. And so it doesn't mean it's going to be a 2-week big treatise and review and write this document, but I try to make a practical exercise component part of all of my hiring, attorneys and non-attorneys alike, because I want to understand how people learn and how people communicate. And so for me, that is also a big piece of the recruitment process, because I find that area is where I can really kick people out or really bear hug them in, because I see them in real life and how they problem solve and how they can work through things that they don't know. Because at the end of the day, you get in the role and you're going to not know a bunch. We're all going to not know a bunch. And so how you act when you don't know something tells me a lot.